Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a great lunch. Can I get some energy down in the room? I know everyone's like a little tired and everything. Can I get some energy? Ladies and gentlemen, can we do this? All right, thank you. A lot of love. All right. Well, next up, we have a panel discussion, how AI is disrupting media planning. And we have a moderator for that. And that is Neha Saxena, Vice President of Head of Global Marketing, Affinity Global. May I please invite her on stage? Please give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Alongside, we have the panelists, Manish, Rathi, Vice President Marketing, DSP Mutual Fund. Thank you. Pradeep, Yadav, Vice President, JM Financial Services. Round of applause, thank you. And Sabir, Anjuman, Head of Digital Marketing, MarTech and Content Strategy, Kalpataru. Please give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And now to the panel discussion.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear us fine? Okay. Thank you for being here, and thank you, IMI, for putting together such a sharp panel. Really happy to have Pradeep, Manish, and Sabir here with me. And as we get started with this discussion, we all know that AI is disrupting various parts of our life, but media planning is one of the most disrupted areas. So these three sharp marketers here would give us some insights about how it's impacting their day-to-day media planning and marketing activities. So let's get started. My first question is to all three of you, and it's a very simple warm-up exercise. So tell me in one line, how has AI already changed the way your team plans media versus 2 years ago? We'll start with you, Sabir.
Sure, thanks. So I think 2 years back, AI was alongside, right? Like we had a lot of tools that we have been using, like Performance Max to even, Smart Bidder and all of that. I think today AI is the optimizing engine. So it has everything from audience, to creative, to in fact post-campaign measurement, everything at scale. And that scale, I would say, is nothing but speed and efficiency.
Super. And Pradeep, do you see similar impact in your areas? You seeing more optimization or more creativity?
Hi. So the luxury that comes with AI, in my opinion, is the way we can manage campaigns in a very dynamic manner. We don't really have to wait for the team to execute a campaign, get the learnings. I'm talking a couple of years back. Bring those learnings and try to improve in the next campaign. That time of picking up learnings and implementing it while the campaign is still on is what I think AI has added as an amazing benefit for media planning.
So you're saying time has become a lot more shorter in executing anything.
Time and the learnings that come along with it. It helps you save a lot of spends that you would have otherwise gone into an A/B testing or
as well. That's super. And what do you think, Manish?
My apologies to everybody. My answer, you may not like it. So now AI has made us more self-reliant. Our dependencies on agencies have reduced. So that's my.
Yes. Actually, quite a what I would call, dukti rag. But yes, agree. The relevance of human-led, initiatives is being diminished by AI across the board. It's so much more in media planning.
Oh, absolutely. Execution, to a large extent, still remains with a lot of agencies. The planning, strategy, I think that has completely come in-house now.
Absolutely. Okay, and then Manish, as you talk about this, and I would ask the same question to the other panelists as well, why don't you continue and tell us what is one AI tool or capability in your stack right now that you think is non-negotiable, it's running a lot of your business and helping you make better decisions?
I'll not name one, unfortunately I'll name two. So we are a very content-heavy organization in terms of our marketing, the way we do marketing. So Claude for strategy and ChatGPT, I would name it, for copies and design. They are both non-negotiable for everybody in the team.
Okay, Claude and ChatGPT. How about you?
Yeah, likewise for us also, the industry that we are into, the broking space, we have to be really heavy on content because the market itself changes so dramatically, even within few minutes or hours, that the opportunities can come out from any sector or this thing. So ChatGPT, Gen AI tools is something that Canva is also another because it helps you get very sharp creatives out of it.
Super. Sabir, any?
So, well, I will answer this a little differently because there's so many tools and we've been changing tools every day, right? So what is non-negotiable for us is unifying customer journeys. Unifying customer journeys and especially rather, unifying my buyer data. That is non-negotiable. Without that, I think AI would be just a vanity for us.
Okay, sounds good. So unifying journeys is super critical.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of CRM tools also enable it in a way. So if you look at HubSpot or Salesforce, they do a pretty awesome job at it. Okay, interesting. Let's move on to more category-specific questions. The panel that we have here has a strong history of doing super marketing campaigns in real estate and financial services. So we are now going to focus on both these sectors. My first question will be to Sabir, and this would be about real estate. So real estate and financial services both run on long considered buying cycles. It's usually not a click journey, right? It's usually a nurturing journey which takes at least 6 to 18 months to come to life. So does AI's bias toward real-time optimization is actually helping this journey or fighting against it or hindering it? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think AI, as we know, it helps us to achieve the goals faster, right? So in our case, what happens, especially in a category where gestation period or conversion is more than 6 months, What AI optimizes for the quick wins, and especially what happens in our case, let's say customer or an user at that first case, pre-lead, they have browsed a lot of content, interacted with us, and suddenly go dormant. Mm-hmm. And that's where AI will market like a cold customer or a cold signal. So when it comes back, of course, that is where it helps us to fight first, that same customer. But later on, when the lead is actually in the system, we are able to use real-time optimization much better. Mm-hmm. So which is basically a lot of these data are now analyzed for propensity scoring at my call center, the voice data of the customer, plus the verbatim in AI bots that we are using on WhatsApp and other, to at least score that customer, or at least because in a category where my sales force is limited, I can actually prioritize the customer which will be eligible to buy. And especially in a category which we are very luxury, only few leads is something workable for us. Mm-hmm. Rather goes into a pipeline which is basically a future prospect. So that's how we see it. Honestly answering, it's never real-time optimization for us because we have to have patience. And that is where I think we train our model to be patient.
Oh, that's super. So like long nurturing sequences also, but with a lot of data and a lot of insights.
Absolutely. And these patterns are very different. It cannot be patterned like we generally see in categories like e-commerce, like a cart data. But here, patterns are very different because nothing or no journey is linear in this day and age.
Yeah, the consumer journey is now not linear at all. They are accessing different surfaces. Intent is getting formed even before people reach the actual platform in native advertising format. So that's happening all around, and we are seeing that at Affinity too. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes. Yeah.
My next question is to Pradeep, and it's around SEBI and RBI norms, which are very stark, and we all know about them. So financial services carries real regulatory weight, and we all know that. So SEBI, RBI, disclosure and suitability norms, how is AI-driven personalization actually possible in that space? Is it targeting, is it starting to build a bump against the compliance? How are you handling that in practice?
So unlike what Sabir just mentioned, the real estate industry where the customer buying journey can be as much as 6 months and above, uh, in equity and stock market it is just the inverse, because calls have to be are very time sensitive, because price point, the point at which you pick up a particular script or a stock. So I think that is where the role of compliance and regulators come into picture, because data also suggests that a lot of F&O traders usually end up making losses. So as a responsible brand, we try to work in the framework of regulatory. We don't see it as somebody who's stopping our growth, but make us more responsible so that we don't give into the temptation of focusing only on the bottom line, but also taking care of their interest. So we try to work, we take them as guardrails that only keeps the entire journey more safe for both the brand and customers, because trust is where everything falls back on in our industry. So we do all mandatory disclosures that are required. We ensure that the product that we are targeting is meant for that kind of risk appetite we know from the data of the customer. And we do not use any kind of trade-inducing statements in our messaging or creatives. Apart from that, I think there is enough legroom that regulators offer to us to customize and personalize our communication. So there's not much challenge in that. And over years, there have been enough educational efforts from these regulators for brands also and for customers, so that we work in tandem with how they would want the industry to remain profitable and not negotiate on their interests. So we don't see it more of a challenge. It's more of adapting to the whole thing.
Got it. So it is a thin line, but you're saying that you have actually managed to nail it.
Yeah, we try to work very closely with the compliance team, trying to give them the objective of our campaign and what do we want to achieve out of it. And we build an understanding so that we are on the safe side of compliance.
Perfect. That sounds like a way of quickly adapting to how the industry is changing. Great. Manish, my next question is for you. For an investment decision, what's the risk that AI optimized media is actually optimizing for the wrong single entirely? So suppose I am a student and I am looking for, say, loans. However, because I'm looking for loans, I'm targeted for a home loan rather than an actual study loan. And I'm talking in terms of loan, but it could be for investment decision too. So I'm a small investor, but I'm targeted with a PMS, for example. So how do you manage this? And how do you build conviction instead of just clicks?
Sure, that's a great question, Neha. Let me start by saying that AI is, I'm talking more from a strategy perspective, not the execution part, which can be automated to a large extent. AI is only as good as the people who are using it. And when you're optimizing using AI, you can optimize it for anything that you want. So you talked about clicks. So picture this. When we run campaigns on, let's say, Google, okay? DSC Mutual Funds running campaign on Google. Our typical CTR for SEM campaigns would be around 4.5–5%. Typical CTR for a display campaign, GDN on GDN network, would be about 8–9%. Now, what do I do? What do agencies tell me? My agencies tell me that, let's use AI to a large extent. Let's create dozens of descriptions, dozens of headlines. Let's create, banners and ads which are like self-adaptable, and we can do segment targeting and lifestyle targeting and so on. Now, what it would typically do is, it may increase my CTR from 4.5 to 5.5% or 9% from 9 to 10%. Now, effectively, when those clicks come to my website, now mutual fund DSP, we are a manufacturer. A lot of our transactions don't even come on our website. They happen on Grows, Zerodhas, and ET Moneys and those of the world. So let's say a lot of people went there, but people who still clicked, they came to my website, they gave a lead, they converted, and that delta, final delta of conversion in absolute terms is very, very less. Okay. Honestly, it's quite insignificant most of the times. So what do I do instead? I pivot my strategy and I optimize it for intent. So my point is, if somebody is typing for, let's say, small cap fund, best small cap fund, I wouldn't probably bring them to a small cap page of DSP. Or I wouldn't just bid on small cap as a word. I would try and find what the customer is actually looking for and give him a copy which can probably help him understand the space better. So there's nothing called best. Best depends upon your time and your risk. When somebody says, what are the risks of mid-cap fund? I wouldn't bring them to a mid-cap page. I would rather take them to an editorial page or an education page where I tell them mid-cap funds have, kind of seen a down correction of almost 20% every 3 years. So the point is, these are the customers who once realized that I've tried to not really sell them anything, not really made them click on anything, but I tried to tell them the right thing, set the right expectations. Probably these are the customers who I have a better chance of converting when they go to grow and zero than do a transaction, or they go to grow and search for DSC mutual fund. So that's the battle. We don't really try and find a battle of 1% additional. We go after the other 99% using content to our advantage, using the right expectation setting to our advantage. And funnily so, our agency at Google itself, they tell us that, well, this is a strategy which is a very strange one because they're not getting CTRs, and we are okay with that.
Okay. I love the point that you made about forming intent. Because yes, most solutions, whether in marketing or in advertising, are focused on capturing intent. But it is only when you are able to frame intent or read the signals that are not too apparent and frame intent, that's when you get loyal customers, repeating customers. So very well said, point made. And which brings me now to the next question, which is about understanding whether AI is actually working in our favor all the times. And we could be big advocates, but there would generally be aberrations, or there would be, outliers where it didn't work for us. So my next question, maybe we start with you, Pradeep, this time, because we are just going to and fro. So give me an actual example, and then we'll go around the panel. Give me an actual example where a campaign, where AI recommended one thing and your gut said another. How did you address it? Who won? Did AI win or did you win? So tell me one example, and it would be great to know if it is exactly from your current organization and relevant to the finance industry.
So these challenges keep on cropping every now and then because campaigns are optimized for objectives. So if it's a reach-based campaign, you will focus on CPM or CTR, CPC, sorry. So many times it so happens that during the middle of the campaign, looking at how the whole campaign has been shaping up, the AI tool would want to recommend a lot of budget push maybe towards the bottom of the funnel, focusing on the CPA because that is where the real business is happening. So this might be a very short-sightedness that we have experienced because while performance marketing can address the needs of today, but you need to keep the pipeline to protect the growth for tomorrow. So that is where a lot of your own understanding of the objectives for which you are running a particular campaign or maybe the next 6 months focus of the company. So you will have to take that call when such a contradictory suggestions crop up, that what do you really want to do? At what stage of brand you are? If you are a new brand, which we relatively are in the broking sector, industry, we would still want to focus a lot of our spends on building brand as well. So that is where you will have to sit with your internal stakeholders also. Your management will come into picture that this is what is coming up. What is the conscious and collective call that we would want to take? So yeah, these are some instances that will always keep on cropping in between of any campaign, and you will have to be very sure about your objective that you have associated with that campaign and take a call accordingly.
Got it. Sabir, within real estate, is there a campaign or media campaign where, AI recommended a certain media allocation and it contradicted your experience and you went against it?
Sure, I will just put it very straight, it's like if I have to judge human versus AI, right? So of course, AI will do the job based on the prompt or the objective we lay out. Especially what it goes wrong on my other side of my spectrum where I do 50 crores upward in South Bombay. There, any lead is actually a bad lead for us because we are only targeting that 0.1%. And AI is chasing the lead. And of course, what the panelists here also said, that how we actually optimize for intent. In real estate, we call it real desire for that buyer who actually come in and actually drop in a lead. But those leads are curiosity leads for us because they will only land up on my call center asking for the price, how much, for that micro market or that pin code that you will be selling. So it doesn't work for us. And of course, I think that's where the human wins. And we optimize it for more like intent, I would say, and less on leads. But on the other side of the spectrum, which is more MMR-led projects we have, which is in Thane and Pune, that I think where AI definitely wins, and it actually kind of, again, fails all media planning that we do humanly, including my agency. Nothing wrong about it, but yeah, it helps us to be on the game of everything.
Super. So optimizing for intent rather than for volume is where you are taking the human angle first. Super. How about you, Manish? Can you give me an actual example where you said, oh no, this is wrong. I'm going to take my own way.
Okay, so with AI, I would say choose your battles very carefully with AI. Again, that's how I would start. If you're trying to do something, again, I'm talking more from a strategy perspective, not really from the execution part of media buying and everything. So if I have to create ads, if I have to create copies with simple intent, simple problems, not too complex, I would give it a reference. I would tell him, write an email using David Roga, write an email considering you are Morgan Housel, write an email, write a banner if you let's say, George Lewis or so on. And it will give me 10, 15 options, and I'll choose the one which I like the most and eliminate few of the other things. So I'll not really argue with AI too much on that part. But when it comes to a more strategic decision that I have on plate, I would definitely be ruthless in talking to AI and brainstorm with AI. So that's where we use Claude to a large extent. And this has been given as, we made projects where all of our team members have the same skills, same capabilities, instructions built in, and then it is left on them to kind of prompt and get the best out of it. So example I would give you, very recently we started our campaign on multi-asset allocation fund. I'm sure a lot of you must have heard about this category. So if you tell AI, give me a plan for multi-asset allocation fund campaign, it would tell you, okay, multi-asset, 3 assets, 4 assets, equity, debt, gold, so on. So this is how it will look like. There are baskets and there are plates, and this is how it will, the strategy would look like. And it will create copies and add copies and banners, landing pages, everything. So then we told them, we gave them a little more information. We tell them, okay, in January, our transactions were 3x of December. So something has happened. Maybe it was the gold price, which increased. Global was doing very well last year. So can you bring in those elements as well? So this is where your engineering would come in, because a normal scenario, you would probably take what it would give you, but then when you become ruthless with it and try and brainstorm and give it a direction, that's when you kind of get the best out of it. So eventually what happened, I'll just tell you, and this is a real life example. Finally, we came across, or we created 100 such copies, 100 intents that people would have when they search for multi-asset on Google. And basis those 100 keywords and 100 search words, we created Claude, of course. Claude created 3 different kind of intent. It grouped them into 6 intent and then grouped them into 3 intents, and we created 3 landing pages. So one set of people who are return chasers, who were considering the fund because they got great returns the last 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. So this is one segment. The second segment was people who are genuinely interested in diversification. So they give them more details about how a diversification portfolio should be built. And the third were highly brand-centric people. They wanted to know what DSP is all about and so on. So we created 3 landing pages, and all the 3 pages are live right now. And the idea is anybody who comes or shows that particular intent, it's directed to that respective landing page. So this was, again, a first instance on our part to do something like that, because otherwise it's very simple. We say somebody searching for a fund, show him our page, sell the ad. But here we are trying to do something different, by, of course, capturing the intent of the customers first, and also multiple intents could be led to different pages. In fact, Claude at one instance, they also told us that let's create one landing page and kind of solve all the problems. But then we kind of reasoned out with them again that, okay, why are you saying that? I'm saying them because we use on multiple systems and we've given it our own names as well. But that's the, that's the ruthlessness with which we have kind of used it. And I think the results are there to see. We are more comfortable justifying what are we bidding for now. And the results, immediate results, it's okay, it may not come. But over time, that's the right thing to do.
I completely agree, and I can corroborate that when you are ruthless with AI and you tell that, no, I don't think this is right, maybe you need to go further into data, maybe you need to take this angle to analyze, the sharper your prompts, the sharper your output too. So the GIGO principle, the age-old principle, is still very, very applicable in the day and age of AI. So great, I think we got some great insights here. I'm heading towards the closing section, and here my intent is to take away some actionable insights from these experts. And therefore, I'm inviting them to do some future gazing into a ball. So the question starts with Manish. 5 years out, is media planning still a human discipline with AI assistance, like it is now, where you are actually taking calls from from the angle of your own intellect, or is it a fully automated function where human just set guardrails as you're doing now? So basically, how do you see 5 years down the line AI playing a role in your media planning day to day as well as the strategic objectives?
Sorry, I will not answer that question 5 years because I didn't know what was going to happen 2 years ago. So I can just do it later this year or 1 year down the line. The way we say it is the execution part can still be automated to a large extent. It should be automated to a large extent so that the teams who are working on it, they can scale our campaigns to a different level altogether. The planning is something where I am pretty sure humans will play a very, very significant role. Because better the planning, I would say that's how scaled up your campaign would be. So mix of both.
Mix of both. What do you think, Pradeep?
So yeah, as Manish said, looking that far into future, 5 years down the line, looking at how it has developed in recent time will be a very wild guess. How I see it is AI will continue to evolve to solve a lot of functional problems for us, whether it is gathering data, especially for a country like India with 1.5 billion people, and also the whole the subsets within that whole population, cultural differences. How I see it is humans will always continue to be an important part because you are still talking to real people. You are using AI to solve real daily problems, and so therefore AI should be we will continue to play the role of more of a co-pilot. Even if you automate a lot of things, giving a very basic example of an autopilot mode in a plane, you still have a person sitting there because you are carrying lives in that plane. Yeah. And especially for our kind of business, which is very heavily regulated, and we are dealing with real-time money where things can go swing either ways. I think that human judgment will still remain, whether it is in terms of the kind of products that we pitch to the customers, the kind of communication we build, stay away from any kind of promises in the markets that we are working in. So that is where humans will be there to keep that check and overall the business objectives in place. So.
Got it. Sabir, real estate is a little different. So let's hear from you. How do you envision, let's say not 5 years, because it's changing every 5 minutes. So 1 year down the line.
No, I would agree with, I think, both the points gentlemen have spoken about. Of course, things are changing very fast, but AI is, of course, there to help us. And it is going to replace, I believe, a lot of operational jobs, like including execution, planning, and creative to a large extent. But having said that, what we are also seeing today, fortunately and unfortunately, a lot of templates have become like Claude, and it is becoming very generic, whatever goes up as a brand creative or, of course, an internal presentation. It's very Claude-like. But that is also going to change. But what cannot be replaced is the decision making. So even if you create an agent, I think decision lies with a human. And that's what we say, that you have to take an approval, right? So that approval mechanics will continue to stay. A lot of jobs can be automated through an AI, but the decision to say click and yes and approve, it is going to be there probably even 5 years and beyond.
Super. And I would like to add some more context to this. At Affinity, we have become the founding members of AdCP, which is Ad Context Protocol, which is laying the global standards of agentic buying. And increasingly, what all three of you mentioned, that the decision making stays with human, is turning out to be true. As we see agentic campaigns being executed, the objective setting is still happening by the humans, and the interpretation and optimization and the decisions and decision making around it is still being taken care by humans, even with an agentic execution. So very well put together. And here is my last question, a very quick one, but it is for the junior marketers that we have here in this conclave. Tell us one thing you would advise them to start doing and stop doing because of AI. Let's start with you, Pradeep. Quick one.
So understanding what AI capabilities are, it will take a lot of operational work and the burden. I think what upcoming marketeers should really focus on is how they can use AI for making better decisions, strategies, and also what we initially discussed, keeping that thin line between the judgment part, how much of decisions can be completely relied upon and where your individual sense of judgment comes into play. So get your hands on a lot of tools to see how best you can apply them in whatever category or business you are contributing to, but always keep seeing them more of as a tool that helps you faster decision making, more intelligent strategy, and keep your individual decision making. Do not ever compromise on that, and I think that will be a good combination if it can happen.
Over to you, Manish.
Okay, don't go by my gray hair. I don't know much, but with my limited experience, I would say...
Are you saying you're too young?
I'm not young, but I look too old, but I'm saying that with my limited experience, I would say stop waiting for the right tool that you'll start using and start with anything that you have and just experiment and just be ruthless, that's all.
Okay. Ruthless is the word I'm taking away from you. Yes. Sabir.
Sure, I'll just pick that word, be ruthless again. So which I would say that do every outcome that you have used AI for, do a stress test. That's very important. Otherwise, most of the time, AI is a bias. And of course, some tools have stopped hallucinating though. But it's important you question the recommendation before even sending it out for approval or believing that AI is obviously right and I should be doing it. I would say what you should stop doing it, believing AI can do all my things, which is actually very, I would say, a quick win, especially drafting your emails to doing a brief to a media plan and everything, but use it to optimize it for larger context, like question why the objective is this, use AI as your wingman for taking that decision, and of course, to scale fast in terms of what you are trying to achieve. And only just seeing AI as a creative support and everything, because that's, of course, that is going to be there. So challenge AI's outcomes, I would say, and that is nothing but stress testing. And of course, that's ruthless.
I loved both the analogies here, stress testing and ruthlessness. Super. So thank you all the panelists. This was a super insightful discussion. We all understand that AI is going to be a big part of media planning as we gaze into the future, but the decision making and planning as well as strategizing will still remain with the humans. So it's all the more important that we understand AI, but we don't start depending on it. So, superb. Thank you for this session. Thank you, IMAI, and I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah. Well, we have a little time and we can take 2 questions. You have questions? Any questions? Yes, please. That gentleman there.
Hi, this is Milind from 3M. Prior to AI, suppose we, as a marketer, if I had to make a PowerPoint presentation, I had to do on my intellect. After AI has come, what we have seen is once we want a strategy or something out of it and we present it to the boss. Now the boss says is, I don't want AI. आप आपका दिमाग लगाओ. So as bosses, what do you have to say when your team presents you something with AI?
So I'll take that question. It's a good one, I'd say. See, to imagine that somebody would come to you without using AI will be a crime now, honestly. And it will only be better with time that your juniors or our juniors or my team, I would say, they start doing it well. Of course, when we're writing communication, we need to make sure that we reduce the AI-ness of that particular thing. But not using it is a crime. So use it better. I would say that.
Thanks, sir.
We have time for one more question. 2 actually. Yeah, that gentleman there.
See, this question is more towards understanding how AI models generally work, right? We all, in fact, here maybe 90-95% of the people we hear use AI for standalone queries. So, for example, if I'm coming up with a campaign, I'll feed everything in and I get suggestions on A/B testing, stuff like that, finalize and go ahead and do it, right? How important is it to feed back the campaign metrics post the campaign has been done to AI, saying that this was the output, right? I mean, obviously, as organizations are using ChatGPT at an enterprise level, they are looking at those enterprises accounts, okay? And I'm sure since it is learning from the enterprise data, it is learning how it will, obviously it will improve the metrics better going forward, because they, see, one is something that they'll do an AB based testing basis their understanding of how these campaigns typically would work in a market, but how is that feedback of that campaign actually, the real metrics, feeding it back, again going to the same chat and saying that, okay, this is what the campaign metrics are after 2 months, and this is maybe just for your FYI, there's no action required, but this is for your feed. Going forward, maybe you can analyze this and then make even further better decisions. Do you think that it will impact, or any of you are doing it right now?
See, I think there are 2 questions in yours. One is, I think, around safety. But if you were asking about data being uploaded or being sent or prompted to AI, if the solution that you already have is, or the tool that you already have is enterprise level, so be rest assured, it's all secured, because it is only going to move around the universe or the environment of your organization. And your question being, again, if it is secured, should we even use that data to analyze? Of course, yes. See, I mean, today we are using AI on the side, just like in human, we are talking to an AI, right? So imagine that you have a colleague and you give him half-hearted information and expect a full report. It is not possible. Likewise, like if you are not able to share information for whatever reason, could be personal or organizational, expect a bad result out of AI.
So yeah, it's just like giving a feedback post a conversation, or it could
Absolutely,
be anything.
yes.
We have time for one last question. Yeah, lady there.
Hello. Hi. So this is Vaishnavi from AdGully. So my question is to continuity of that first question, that bosses are asking for HI as well, human intelligence. So how does it balancing both AI and HI in like media planning?
So I think a lot of that part of the human contribution in decision making will come from your past experience, maybe you can look into other industry peers, you can reach out to them to understand how they have been working out. Because it is more like somebody gives you a recipe to make any particular dish. You have the recipe, but given that recipe to 3 different people, the outcome will still be different. That is where your own individual learnings, contribution, your whole thought process is what can make a difference. And probably that is what, if it is in continuation to that question, probably that is what your superiors or managers are looking for, that it is not an over dependency on the AI tool at the cost of your own intelligence. So I think there is enough data available if you know enough people who are working alongside with you in their respective fields. There are research that would have been done. So it is more about your manager might be more interested in understanding your process of how did you arrive at that particular judgment and to what extent the AI tool was used. Because as I said, you are again dealing with real people, and AI being an ever evolving thing will always work on past data. So it should not be influencing it too much in a very skewed manner. So that is where that human intervention or contribution comes into picture. So that's what I think of it.
You know, one thing, sorry, I'll just continue to what you said. One thing that AI has done now, and I've kind of seen it very closely, that it has brought back the long copy format, a lot. Open LinkedIn and you'll see half of the posts there are all AI written, and you can easily make it out. I know sentences like "it stayed with me," and a lot of M dashes and small sentences. These are all AI writing, and it only depends on you how you want to polish it more. It doesn't mean you shouldn't use AI. Use it for better context. Use it to give your own examples, analogies. Enhance it, polish it using AI. Use it like you'd speak with any other human being than talking to a machine. These small prompts, and just put all those prompts in your system where that when I make messages, please don't make it sound like this. It is. That would kind of solve a lot of your problems. And also put in what your boss wants to hear. So that would also solve.
So just to give you a real example, we prepared for this session. We used a lot of AI. How can we deny it?
I was going to say that, yes, AI helps in preparation. Yeah. And but one thing that we have to understand that the AI also hallucinates. And in media planning, that hallucination can cause us quite a bit. And that's where human discretion will come in understanding where is the actual fact versus the hallucination.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.